What is going on, everybody? We are live here for the Wednesday Q&A. Sorry, we are a little bit behind schedule here just because we are live here on YouTube as well as Instagram. So I want to start getting into some of the questions we had here. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments, whether it be on YouTube or on Instagram. So we're going to jump into some of the questions that we had getting started, and then after the fact, we'll take some questions based on what comes up in the comments. So let's jump in and get started for now, because we do have a lot of questions specifically on Instagram, but if you do have any questions on YouTube or here on Instagram, do let me know. All right, so let's jump in and get started here. Okay, so first question. Any important advice for a new dropshipper? Okay, that's a great question. So I have some awesome advice for new dropshippers. There's a lot of different things you can do when you're starting out. You can, and this is what most people do. Most people will follow people on YouTube, whether it's, person here, person there. They follow somewhere between usually 3 and 7 or 8 different influencers to essentially try to put together their own process. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people do consistently over time. And what they do is they put together these processes, and if this is you, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just great now that you have the opportunity to work on this and fix it potentially for the future. You try to put together 3 to 8, let's say 5 people's different processes together to form your own process, okay? Let's start off with something at the beginning here. If you're going on YouTube and trying to filter out the bad information in order to put together a bunch of good information together to make your own process, but you've never done this before and you actually have no idea what you're doing, not a good place to start at all. You don't want to start by doing that. What you want to do first is start to understand the landscape of everything, and then really, to be honest with you, the advice I like to give to people is whoever it is, whether it's myself or somebody else that you trust out there, find somebody with massive credibility who truly cares about you and your success in this business, and trust them, drink the juice, and follow their process so that you can get to the level that you want to be at in this business. And the reason I say that is because everybody has a different process. It doesn't mean that one process is better than another process, or that one person is right and one person is wrong. Everybody has different processes. Everybody does different things. But if you go on YouTube and you try to find one person's testing method, 13 other people's scaling methods with Facebook, and then somebody else's product research method, you're putting it all together, it's not gonna help you in the long term, because you don't know what you're doing. You think you might know what you're doing, but you really don't, right? That's why you're out there seeking the advice and seeking the process and plan that you're looking for, right? So the biggest advice I can give to people out here that are starting out in this business is to nail down a process, follow somebody you trust that you deem to be credible, and go out there and do it. The biggest thing is going out there and doing it, because not enough people go out there and actually put this into play. What a lot of people do is they ponder so much, and they become a perfectionist, and they get analysis paralysis, and they never actually go out there and do it. At the end of the day, if you build a Shopify store and it's not perfect, but you go out there and you test and you run products, you will learn whether that's a good thing or a bad thing very, very quickly. Very quickly, you understand, what's good, what's bad, what works, what doesn't, and if you're gonna have success in this business quickly, or if you're gonna have to learn in the long term. So I would say the biggest advice I would give you is follow one person. Follow one person that has credibility and wants you to have success in the long term, and then also go out there and take massive action. So that was the first question we had come through. Looks like we got some comments here on YouTube as well. We had some people joining on Instagram. No comments or questions yet on there. We got a lot of questions coming through on Instagram. So what I'm doing is I'm just keeping both of them active here. Okay, all right, so now I can see the live. All right, hi, what's going on, Entertainment? What's going on, everybody on Instagram? Okay, so let's jump into the second question here. Hope that helped. Let me know if you guys need some clarification on that stuff as to the best things when it comes to beginners. So next question we're going to talk about here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, next question. Run $3 daily budget for 7 days or $10 daily for 3 days in Facebook ads. Okay, So this question is really relates more to the structure of how you structure your Facebook ads when you're testing and trying to get consistent sales and find that winner for you, right? So when you're starting out and you're looking to push ads to try to see if the product that you want to test is a potential winner, what you want to do is you want to give yourself the biggest opportunity to have success, right? And the way you do that is by spreading yourself out across many different groups of people. And so what I like to recommend is, you said $3 daily budget for 7 days or $10 daily budget for 3 days. So it's not really as much about the days as it is the time and the amount of money that you're spending to give Facebook the ability to actually optimize. Because remember, if you give Facebook a $50 budget in 2 days, that's not the same as giving, because that would be $100 spent. That's not the same as giving Facebook, a $10 budget over 10 days. Because different people convert in different times of the day, different days of the week. Different groups of people, may not be as active at some point during the week. Like, there's so many different things that go into it, so many different factors that are involved that you want to give Facebook a widespread net to be able to optimize for you over time. So the way we do that is we have the lower budgets. What I like to recommend getting started minimally is $5 budgets, 10 ad sets at a time. Now, as on a day-to-day basis, the answer to that question lies in the process and the why and the person that you're following, because what I would recommend to you is understanding truly how these KPIs work. And if you don't understand how the data analytics work when it comes to this business, you're not going to have the long-term success. And so if you're asking that question, what I would implore with you to the person that asked that question is, you should really be looking at your process and who you're following. And if you're not following people, and what I mean is not just following them on Instagram or following them on YouTube, I mean getting into a process. I mean 20, 30, 40 hours long of how these people run their businesses. And that means, that may mean getting into a program, getting into a course, getting into mentorship, getting into coaching, whatever it may be. Get into something so that you can dive in and truly take all the secrets from these people. Because there is a process to it. And you're not going to get it all just by following them on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever it may be. Follow these people's processes and follow them to the T, okay? And so that's my recommendation. So if you're asking this question, it's because you have a structural issue in the concrete base of how you're running your business, and you don't truly know what you need to know in order to make this thing work. Because if you're asking how many days should I run this ad, that's a bad... I like to say that, how people say like there's no such thing as a stupid question. Well, for a lot of things I disagree. I don't think that that's a stupid question, because you have structural issues that the whys. You have the structural whys that you don't understand. And if you understood the whys and you asked that question, I would say that, okay, that's a stupid question, right? But it's not, because you don't understand the whys behind it, okay? So you need to understand that why. You understand that, okay, interesting, why would I want to run it for this many? Why does running it for 3 days in comparison to 5 days matter, right? It's the first question. And then why would I, spend a smaller budget over the period of time? Doesn't really matter, guys. It does matter, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's all about spending, right? Because if Facebook's spending $15 over the span of 3 days, there's so much that goes into this that it's hard for me to explain it in just a few minutes. But the biggest recommendation I would have for you, the person who asked this question, is to really, truly think about where you are in this business and analyze how much you know about data analytics, because that's what this business is. When you get into Facebook advertising, you are reading the data and analyzing whether you're profitable, not profitable, where you want to keep that ad long-term, you want to keep that product long-term, if it's going to make money for you. And if you don't understand that, that means your process is broken, and you need to understand the process better. You need to get into a better process. You need to not follow the people you're following, whatever it may be. So I went a little bit in a circle there, but I came back to what the most important thing is to make sure you're understanding, that you need a process. So as for the next question here, let's see what we got here, because we got a lot of questions coming through. Okay. Next question. If you weren't doing e-com, what else would you be doing? That's a great question. If I wasn't doing e-commerce, so e-commerce specifically is just selling products online using social media marketing, Google Ads, stuff like that. If I wasn't doing e-commerce or I was selling products online, I'd be selling a service online. Even though I also do that as well. Just using, selling my mentorship and my coaching is somewhat of a service as well. But if I wasn't doing that, I would probably be doing real estate. I have my real estate license, I'd probably be doing a little bit of that, and I would probably be doing, guys, I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm one of those people that just like has to be making money no matter what happens. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, how can I make money today? Like in different ways, right? So I'd be doing something else entrepreneurial. I don't know down to the T what exactly it would be that I'd be doing, but I'd be doing something, right, related to that sort of thing. All right, let's see. Okay, next question. What's the best way to find products? That is a good question. And I actually refer to this video pretty frequently. What I recommend is if you guys are here on Instagram, is go check out my YouTube channel where I have a video two or three videos ago. If you go on YouTube, type in Ryan Melnick, you'll find my channel. I have a video 2 or 3 videos ago that says top products, top winning products for 2019, right? So go watch that video. I talk about the product research tool belt, and that's a really valuable video for you to for you to see as well. We said somebody on YouTube going, am I the only one watching? No, we got a few people on YouTube. Most of the audience is here on Instagram, but we are live both on YouTube and on Instagram. So that's where we're getting all these questions from, the people coming through. So what was I going with? Yeah, so watch that video. If you haven't watched it, if you're on YouTube and you haven't watched that video yet, make sure you watch that video. And if you guys are on Instagram and you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, check out that YouTube video because that YouTube video is massively valuable, talking about the product research tool belt in a ton of different ways that you can find winning products in this business. So that would be my recommendation, is go check out that video. Okay, let's see, next question. Okay. What is a good budget to start e-com with? That is a great question. So, I talk about this over and over again because I do think it's really important. A lot of people out here, a lot of these gurus try to say that you can start this business with $100, $200, $300. Can you? Yes. Do you have a high probability for success? Absolutely not. When somebody tells you that they can help you build a 6-figure business and it'll only take $150 to do so, guys, like if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. This is a business. You're trying to build a 6-figure income from this. And so with that, all that being said, you do need money to make money, and you need a nice substantial budget in order to get things off the ground. Like, even if you have a process, my recommendation is to have $1,000 minimally in a budget to get started with this business. The ideal budget is $2,000 plus, but if you have somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, you're good to go. The reason is this: when you start out, let's say you start out with a budget of $200, right? And let's say you don't even buy a program. Okay, so first off, you're not following a process. So you're going out there on YouTube and you're trying to put together 7 different influencers' processes, and you're trying to create your own process out of it, which is not a good idea for the most part. But let's say you're doing that, right? And so you're trying to put together your process. You've got $200, and you invest in your Shopify monthly manufacturing overhead, basically, that keeps your business alive. And let's say you've got minimal, free theme, and let's say minimal apps where you're spending maybe I don't know, like $20 a month on apps, right? So everything is minimal. I'm not saying you can't do the minimal stuff, but then again, like, it is nice to have some better apps and a better theme, like some more money to spend on ads, stuff like that. But let's say you're doing the absolute minimum. So you're spending literally $50 a month, right? Let's say you do it for 2 months. You test this thing 2 months. You learn the entire process, and you start testing in 2 months with no process you're following, just off YouTube. So you have, right now you're doing $40 a month. So let's say for 2 months, that's $80 right there. So you got $80, right? And then let's say you go out and you start testing products, right? And let's say you're testing $5 budgets, 10 ad sets, and you're doing, so you got $5 a day, 10 ad sets. Let's say you test for 3 days and you run 3 products, right? So 3 products, 3 different days. Now you wouldn't test just one product every day. You'd want to probably give it more time than that, depending on the product you're running. But that would be $150 right there. You're already out of money. Actually, you're in debt because you had $200 to start. So $150 plus $80 is $230. You had $200 to get started, and that's 3 products. The likelihood of you starting in this business and just launching ads and having success within the first 3 products you test without having any process or having any knowledge of how this business works whatsoever is extremely low. And when I mean extremely low, I mean less than 5%, like probably somewhere in the 2 to 3% range of you having success. That's just the fact of the matter. And so you need to have a good budget. And if you want to build a legitimate business out of this, You need to have some cash flow. You need to have reserves. You need to have the ability to grow. Because the problem is here, if you start making sales and you have a $200 or $300 budget, and let's say you're out of money, you got to buy the product. You got to go buy the cost of goods sold from AliExpress or your supplier. And so if you don't have any money to do that, you're not going to be able to ship the item out. Well, if you can't ship the item out, you're going to have customers complaining. You're going to end up getting money held. You're going to end up, it's a never-ending wheel of disastrous mess. Okay, so it's just not a good idea. Okay, so I would recommend starting this business with $1,000 minimally to get started. Now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to answer some questions. We had some questions come through on YouTube, or a question come through on YouTube, and some people commenting. So I'm going to go through that right now. Let's see what we got here on YouTube. How to get free traffic. If you're worried about getting free traffic, I would be a little worried for you, because if you're that worried about getting free traffic, it means you probably don't have the legitimate budget that you need to get started in this business. So free traffic's great and all, but you're basically trading your time for money, because in order to get free traffic, you're gonna have to basically get on there and grind. You're gonna have to follow and unfollow, message everybody, whether it be on Instagram or on Facebook. Facebook free traffic does exist, but not easily. All right, let's see, next question. How much should we spend on ads, and what should we use, Google, Facebook? Okay, so we'll answer that question. So my recommendation to get started with this business is, when you truly understand how this business works and how to run Facebook ads, you have to have a process behind it. You have to understand this stuff. You don't want to go on Facebook. One of the biggest beginner mistakes I see is people go on Facebook and they just throw money at the wall. They build a Shopify store, they throw money, and they're just like, oh, I'm going to make money. Like, guys, there are hundreds of thousands of people in this world today that are going on and making a Shopify account, building a Shopify store, and just throwing money at it. Literally just going, oh, this will work. Guys, that is not how this business works. Sorry about that, we got pause on YouTube there. Sorry guys, this is not how this business works. You need to have a process, you need to understand what you're doing. If you don't get it, and you're just like throwing money at the wall, this business is not gonna work for you. You need to know what you are doing, okay? So with all that being said, if you know what you're doing, Facebook is a great place to start. And the reason for that is it's all based off of, you gotta remember the structure pillars of this business, like the concrete base of this business is based off of impulse buying, right? Impulse selling. You sell people based on impulse. They see an ad on Facebook. Remember, when people go on Facebook, they're there to say happy birthday to their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents. They're there to make friends with random people, like maybe going on Facebook groups. Like, they're not there to see your ads. They're not there to buy anything from you. So what you have to do is you have to put an irresistible offer that's so irresistible in front of people that they can't help themselves but to go and click through that link, go on your website, that they literally, guys, remember this, they're going on your website, your Shopify store. It's a website that they have never seen before. They don't know, they probably don't even trust, and they're going on there and they're clicking, boom, enter in their credit card information, they're entering in their personal credit card information, their address and their name on some random Shopify store. Do you think they're meaning to do that? Or do you think they're researching that beforehand? Absolutely not. They're not. It's all based on impulse. When you push an ad in front of somebody, they're going to convert right then and there. Yes, you have your 1% to 2% of people who convert 3 days later, but for the majority of what's going on in this business, they're converting right then and there. That's why it's based on impulse. That's why we have scarcity timers. That is why we have only 57% off now for a limited time. Like, first 100 people only, free shipping, $50. Like, you push that irresistible offer, and you put things in front of people that make them buy based on impulse, not just based on research and credibility. Like, when you don't have those things in your store, that is going to hurt you over time when it comes to Shopify dropshipping specifically. So, hope that helps answer your question for the person that asked it over there on YouTube. So, let's go into the next question here. All right. Got a good amount of questions still left. Let's see. All right, next question. Okay, this question says, going to be joining your course soon. What is the best advice for new Shopify store owners? Okay, so to answer that first part of the question, so Joe says he's going to be joining my program soon. If you're going to be joining my program, the number one thing that I will say right off the bat is, and I say this in the first video of my 40+ hour program that I pushed out just over a month ago, you're banned from YouTube now. You are banned from YouTube. And yes, if you're coming from YouTube and you guys are getting into my program and you message me on, you message me on YouTube, message me on Instagram, shoot me a message, shoot me an email, whatever it may be. Once you get into my program, I'm going to ban you from YouTube. And the reason I'm going to ban you from YouTube is not because I don't like YouTube. It's not because I don't think there's great information on YouTube. It's because there have been so countless number of times where people will come into my program, they will pay me for my program, and then they will turn around and they will go on YouTube and they will find other gurus out there and they will trust in their process and they'll believe what they're saying, and they didn't pay them anything. And that's after investing themselves in my program. And what they do is they come to the program, they watch a few videos, and then they take some time off and go on YouTube. Because YouTube's a hobby, guys. I get it. I love YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time. And it's like a hobby for people. People like to do it. It takes up time during the day, and it's enjoyable to do, right? But when it comes to like having a program, when you're in a program, ban yourself from YouTube. So because you're just going to mix up yourself. You're going to end up getting this long and never-ending circle of just not having success and not making money in this business, and nobody wants to do that. So that would be my first recommendation, is if you get into a program, whoever's program it may be, ban yourself from YouTube. Just do it. That would be my first suggestion. Now, best advice for Shopify store owners, you will understand this if you get into a program or you follow a process of people that that know what they're talking about. The number one thing that I would say that's really important is to remember, guys, that content is king. And I say this all the time, and I'm going to consistently say it because it's so unbelievably true. You have your store, you have your product, and you have your ad, right? And your ad includes your video or your picture and your copy, right? Your irresistible offer, your problem or solution that you're solving, or whatever it may be, right? You can have an average store, the free theme average store. You can have an average product and viral, amazing, irresistible content and make six figures in this business in profit on a yearly basis. Absolutely. If you have an average store, an average product, and amazing, unbelievable viral content that pulls people's attention in, and once they're pulled in, they end up going to your site and you push an irresistible offer in front of them, game over. Game over. Now, that being said, if you have the world's best website, the world's best product, but below average content, you will make no money in this business. Because remember, the funnel is this. You push an ad in front of people, they see your ad, whether it be on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever it may be, right? And when they see your ad, you have to stop them in their tracks. And after you stop them in their tracks, you have to relate to them so well and sell to them so well to the point that they literally click through on some random website they've never been to before, go to your store, enter in their personal credit card information, and buy from a store that they've never seen and don't necessarily trust or know anything about. Like, literally, guys, that is the process. But remember, the beginning of that process is to catch people's attention, hold that attention, and then get them to buy. Okay? So if you don't have that amazing viral content that you post, the rest of the process doesn't matter. Like, I get like probably 3 to 5 messages a day, people saying, hey, can you look at my store? How's my store? And most of the time, like, the stores are fine. Like, there's not a big deal with the store. Yeah, there's sometimes people's stores suck. Like, but for the most part, stores look pretty good. It's not the store. It's the viral content. It's the irresistible offer. It is the Facebook advertising side of it where you don't know what you're doing. Not enough people don't spend enough time learning how to properly market online using Facebook, using Instagram, whatever it may be that you're using. For the majority of you, it's Facebook. You need to learn how to sell, because if your product's amazing and your website's cool, that's great, and pat yourself on the back for that. That's really cool. You want a cookie for it? It doesn't matter. You know why? Because nobody's going to buy from you because they don't know that your site exists. This is the internet we're talking about. You're not walking around, the street knocking on people's doors. Like, it's not like that. Like, people need to know where to visit. You need to push it in front of their virtual doorstep, right? You need to knock on their virtual door and put it right in front of their face in order for people to buy. And you have to relate to them. You have to sell them, and you have to relate to them to a certain point, or else it's not going to work. You're never going to sell anybody, right? Just something to consider and think about. All right, so we're going to go over probably we're going to go over a few more questions here, just because we got some time. So let's see what we got here. All right. Sorry guys, going through a bunch of questions here. All right. Lots of questions coming in here. Try to pick one. Okay. Okay. Next question. Spending more money on weekends ads. Thoughts? Give you my thoughts on that. You are if your question is based off of how much money you're spending during the week, or how much money you're spending during the weekends, or how much money you're spending during a certain hour of a specific day, of a specific month, of a specific week, you are way too emotional and romantic and invested into the profitability of your ad campaign at the micro level. Way too intimate with that. You need to understand that you are not going to make money in this business if you sit on your laptop or on your computer every waking minute of the day and analyze everything that comes through your Facebook campaign. Because I got news for you. I don't know if you've had any experience with Facebook advertising. Obviously, it depends on the person, but guys, I got news for you. This isn't a news flash. This is pretty common if you know anything about it. Facebook is not the most consistent thing on planet Earth. It's actually very inconsistent. Over time, when you optimize, you start to get a certain amount of conversions, and Facebook knows what's going on and knows what type of people like to buy. Yes, it can become very consistent. But when you're testing and you're starting out, guys, it's very common. It's very likely that when you find your first winning product, this is what your first 7 days might look like. Day 1, 2 sales. Day 2, 0 sales. Day 3, 0 sales. Day 4, 1 sale. Day 5, 3 sales. Day 6, 1 sale. Day 7, 0 sales. And that may be a winning product for you, actually, legitimately. And that makes sense if you analyze it down to the ad set level and you look at each ad set mutually exclusive to each other, like not comparing them too much, looking at them mutually exclusive and understanding what's going on within that ad set, okay? Stop being so romantic with it, guys. This business is simple if you follow a process, okay? If you follow a process that works, this business is not that hard. It's really pretty simple. If you're just going out and you're just looking at YouTube videos, testing different stuff, just trying to figure it out, yeah, it'd be a pretty difficult business. But if you're following a process, this business is really pretty simple and pretty clear cut, okay? And when it comes down to it, you can't be analyzing ads on a daily basis. You need to be analyzing your ads on a daily basis, and I do recommend looking at your ads 2-3 times a day. But if you're looking at your ads on a daily basis saying, oh, my ads do better on Tuesdays, not as good on Wednesdays, and you're turning your ads on and up, guys, that stuff's not gonna work, especially because when you turn your ad set off, it actually de-optimizes the ad set entirely because it's pulled out of the auction platform and it's thrown back in. So just forget that, throw that out. That is crap. That's a bunch of crap. So I don't know if that's just something you came up with or that's someone you got from someone else. I don't know, but not important. Stop being so romantic with it and just look at the macro instead of focusing on the micro when it comes to analyzing the ads on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so let's see what we got here. All right, how to start. The question can be answered in a lot of different ways, but let's see. Okay, so we'll go into this question next. What do you think? Okay, let's talk about this one. What makes your course different from other courses? So I don't even like to say that it's a course, and the reason I like to say it's a course is for a few different reasons. One, to be completely honest with you guys, courses are given a bad name because most people out there, 99% of influencers, don't know what they're talking about, aren't willing to give it to you and make you pay for it. And then they also, at number 4, they don't actually follow up with you and make sure that you're having success with this business and actually answer your questions. So what I like to do is I call it a program. And the biggest reason I call it a program is that, but also because it is a program. This is not a 4, 6, 8 hour course that I put together over a month's period of time and just threw up and said like, oh yeah, if you guys have success, that's cool, but if you don't, it's whatever. No, this is right now 42 plus hours of content, step by step of how this business works. Another question I was asked was, do you teach how to create viral content? Yes, I do. I have about 2.5 hours, maybe 3, somewhere between 2 and 3 hours a video on the program right now where I talk about how to create viral content, what viral content looks like, and why it looks like the way it does, and how it sells people in this business, okay? So, and most of these programs don't even have that, and there's a lot of things that they don't have. But my program, for instance, is 40 plus hours long, and we're building a 6-figure business here, guys. When you're building a 6-figure business, think about that. Realistically, do you think you can build a 6-figure business by watching videos for 4 hours? I mean, yes, it is definitely possible, but is it probable? Not really. Okay, it's an entire process. You're using one of the most powerful marketing tools in the history of the world, and you're trying to make a full-time income off of it. And although, by the way, you're trying to not touch the product and use artificial intelligence, outsourcing, and automation. Wow, right? If you think about it that way, it's a lot involved. And you think that you can learn that entire process in 4, 5, 6 hours? No. So it speaks for itself. And not just that, but I'm always here, on Wednesday Q&As, and my DMs are flooded on a consistent basis. But I'm always retracting the water from the flood and answering everybody's questions. So hope that helps clear things up a little bit there. Okay, so we're going to go through one more question that was pushed through, and then that was asked, and then we're going to be going over the questions that are in the comments, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram. We have more people here on Instagram right now, so we're going to be looking at the questions on there. But if there are any questions on YouTube, feel free to ask those, and I'll be looking through those as well. So let's go through one more question that was put through earlier, and then after that, we'll go through any questions that were asked within the live here. So, Okay, so I think this is an interesting question, and I consistently get this question, and I enjoy it because I think that when you understand what I'm saying, when I answer this question, it is going to help you transform the way that you think as a person, as a business person, whatever it may be. So the question is this: how much have you made till now online? So how much have you made online, right? And actually the same person just asked that question. How much did you make till now? Okay, so a few different things behind this question. So obviously, what is the goal of this question? The person asking this question is obviously looking for an answer. The goal could be a few different things. One, to boost their self-confidence in, if they're trying to start their own business, they're trying to boost their self-confidence so that when I answer a large number, I've made $300 billion, they can go, oh great, I can make $300 billion. That makes me feel better about my self-awareness, my self-confidence of who I am as a person. And I think I can actually do it because somebody else did it and I just heard a third-party story about it, right? That could be the first thing. The second thing is it could be a reach for credibility. Is you could be reaching to see what credibility I have in order to, so I can provide some facts, and that would provide credibility to this person to see if they are potentially interested in getting into one of my programs, or maybe they just want to see if I'm one of these scammer gurus out here, or if I'm legit. I don't know what it may be, right? That may be the second reason. And the third reason, which I think is really interesting, really, the base of it is those two reasons. It's really either their self-confidence or their awareness of them being able to have success in this business, or two, my credibility when it comes to all of this stuff, or three is to potentially try to push something in front of me and catch me off guard in a moment where I don't have my guard up. And what I think is really interesting about that, and I'm not saying that that's the intention here, obviously not, but what I think is really interesting about that when you think about the psychology behind this stuff is that becomes an issue 100% of the time when somebody is not honest, when somebody is not being honest, when somebody is they're simply avoiding the question entirely. They're avoiding the truth, and they're just sitting there and they're going, oh yeah, and then they think about something and they do, they touch their face, they do something, or they look away from the camera, whatever it may be, right? And trying to push somebody in a corner to see if you can get them to trip up on their words or whatever it may be, right? Which is, I think, is super interesting because most of these gurus out here are lying about a lot of different stuff. I consistently see people, we're not going to talk too much about this because I really don't care what other people are doing, but there's a lot of people out there, guys, they fake their results and they have 2, 2 million plus in sales or whatever it may be, and yeah, they never ran a Shopify store in their entire life, never had success, and they simply have a staff account on somebody else's Shopify store. That's a common one. See that many times. Nice. And you'll notice it because when you ask them questions, they don't truly know what they're talking about. They don't have any actual knowledge to back it up, right? So it's just something to consider and think about, especially when you're looking at these other influencers out there. But to answer the question, first off, I would ask why. I just went over some of the reasons why. But at the end of the day, me answering that question is not going to do anything for anybody other than give you that self-confidence or provide me with credibility. And the first thing is, I don't need the credibility. If you guys want to all jump off of the live Instagram here or the live YouTube, you can. You don't have to watch me. I'm not forcing you to do so. I think the reason that you do so is because I give away lots of free value and give advice for free because I try to be a good person in this world. But I don't need to provide you with credibility. I just don't. So, I mean, if it's, if it's 100,000, 500,000, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, I just don't need to provide that information. So it's just not an answer I have to answer, right? So if you don't think I provide that credibility, then leave. You are up to you. You can make your own choices based on that, right? And it's for your self-confidence. You can make this business work. If I've made $7 million, $20 million, guys, if that is what boosts your self-confidence, it means that you need to be aware of what's going on in your mind, and you need to do things that help your self-confidence on a daily basis. Because of me telling you that I've made $100,000, $10,000, whatever, $1 million, it doesn't matter, because whatever I say might give you that little boost for the time being, that little shot of adrenaline, but over time you need to boost your own self-confidence. So do things on a daily basis in order to boost your self-confidence, and be aware of that. Because if that's what you're looking for when you ask me that question, this short little answer might, put the little adrenaline shot at you, but over time you're going to need to help yourself and have self-help to boost your self-confidence over time to make this business work for you, okay? So hope that clears it up as well. So let's see what else we got here. We're going to go through some of the questions we got here within the live here. So I'm going to start first on YouTube because we have a lot on Instagram here, and we just had a few come through on YouTube. So we're going to go through the YouTube ones first. Okay. And where will people need to find the products? Okay, lots of questions. When can I make my first sales cash to device of having money to fulfill? Yeah, okay, so a lot of these questions can be asked, but there are long explanations, and honestly, some of them, the answers are Google it. Because like I said earlier, guys, there are some questions that are stupid questions, and so if you're asking hey, after I get an order, how do I fulfill it? Google it. Shopify Dropshipping Fulfillment. You want me to sit here and spend 5 minutes explaining to you how fulfillment works? Fulfillment is unbelievably simple when it comes to this business. Google it. I'm here for the advanced questions, the things that are not out there on the market to actually help you level up in your business. How do I fulfill an order? It's not a good question. It's a question that can be easily found via Google. Okay. And then the last question, we had a few other questions on YouTube, but I'm just going to go with the last question here. Call this the last question. Somebody asked, how can you start Shopify dropshipping with $0? You can't, because this business, in order to build a six-figure business out of it, you need money. You need cash flow. You need money to invest. You need to invest in advertising. You need to invest in your software. You need to invest in your manufacturing overhead. You need to invest in cost of goods sold. You cannot start this business with $0. If you have $200, you essentially have $0. $1,000. You need $1,000 to start this business. And I would love to speak with anybody who refutes that. So, hope that helps. Okay, so let's see what else we got here as per questions. We're going to go through the questions here on Instagram and see what we got as per those questions. Okay, got a lot of comments here. Let's see. Gosh, you guys are going crazy in the comments. Money sign, diamond, flex emoji. How to get free targeted traffic. I went over free traffic a little bit ago and talked about my worries when it comes to asking that specific question and what that might mean for where you're at and where you should be going. What email subscription service do you use since MailChimp is not supported? There's a lot of different email services you can use. I've used a lot of Klaviyo. MailChimp was good. It's pretty simple the way it works, but MailChimp is no longer integrated with Shopify. Klaviyo integrates very easily with Shopify as well. You can get it on the App Store, the Shopify App Store. But Klaviyo is a decent little investment to get started. So email marketing is very important to squeeze every little piece off of the bone that you can, but it's not, right now, is not of the utmost importance and 100% needed in order to have success in this business. And yes, I'm actually saying that, is that if you don't focus on email marketing right now, you can still have success in this business. Like I'm saying, literally I'm saying that. And I'm not saying that ideally you don't want to focus on email marketing. What I'm saying is when people get into email marketing, they tend to spend too much time on it, or you could be making 10 times that money on Facebook. And so that would be my suggestion. There's a lot of deeper thought behind that, but that's just kind of the surface level answer to that question. But Klaviyo is a great service to use as well. All right. Okay. Derek says, I have the program, prepare to go to class and take it seriously. Spending 48 hours a day on it, 4 to 8 hours a day, not 48. 48 hours a day on it, 40 plus hours, amazing content. Appreciate it, Derek. Yeah, guys, if you're looking to get into my program, you can message me on Instagram here. My Instagram as well, if you're on YouTube, is @ryan.melnick. Guys, or you can go to dropshippingperfection.com. My program is step-by-step, yes. Unlike anything else on the market. Best program in the market by far, and I will refute anybody I will debate anybody that wants to refute that, because it is the best program on the market, period. Like, it is amazing, valuable, structural, actual content there. It's not just a bunch of fluff, right? And it's actually going to show you how to do this business and then why this business works the way it does. Okay, so I do appreciate it, Derek. I worked, over 5 months filming, piecing together how that program was going to be, and it's so long, actually, and so extensive, and so much material, so much value, that I can't host it on these typical course hosting platforms like Teachable or like ClickFunnels or Udemy or any of these other ones, because it has so many gigabytes of value, right? I don't even know. There's probably like literally, I don't even know, hundreds of gigabytes probably. I don't know. And so it would be unbelievably difficult for me to host that anywhere, because that amount of data, that amount of video would be very difficult and very expensive, probably thousands a month to actually host. So it's on Facebook, it's a private Facebook group, but you can't get in unless you enroll in the program, okay? But that just shows you how much value there is there. So appreciate it, Derek. It does mean a lot. Glad to see you're seeing some massive value from it. So that's exciting. All right. Derek says, if you're concerned with how pretty your site is, instead of selling, you just have a nice site for your ego, and that's about it. Exactly, guys. Like, if you're in this business to make a cool site and tell your friends and family about it and be like, yeah, I own Ryan.com. It's really cool. I have lots of gifts, but I don't actually have them, and I don't make any money with it, but it's cool because I might in the future, sometimes, at some point, I figure out how to work this business. That's cool and all, but most of you are in this business to make money. And so if you want to make money, you don't want to focus on just simply selling the store. Throw your ego out the door, leave it over there, and focus on, yes, the store is important, and I'm not saying you should push out a store that looks terrible. And I'll tell you if your store's bad, I will, but for the most part, people spend way too much time on that and not enough time on actually selling the products themselves. Facebook or Google ads. Watch the beginning of this video. This live actually went over it. So as for Instagram and YouTube, this live will be shared to both YouTube, and this live stream will be shared to both YouTube and to Instagram, so you can go back and watch it as well. So go back to the beginning of this video where I talked about Facebook versus Google ads. Or I just talked about Facebook. I didn't really talk too much about Google ads. Derek says, how many students have made over 10K in profit? How long did it take them to get there? Okay, good question. So I've had many programs over the past 2 or 3 years, many different programs that I was pushing people through. So over the past few years, I'll give you kind of a round number of, I would say it's over 10, under 30, right, as it comes to 10K. That's just because I started my personal brand and actually running ads and stuff like that seriously maybe like 4 months ago. Like way back in the day, it was people I was actually doing a mentorship in person with and stuff like that. So it's not really as, it hasn't been as streamlined as what it's starting to get to today. And I'm just now about to push out Facebook ads and YouTube ads to get more people in the program. So like even the program, this new program that I just pushed out just over a month ago has just over 30 people in it. But I mean, when you look at the scope of things, just over 30 people, like half of those people, at least half of those people that are in the program right now in Dropshipping Perfection haven't finished the program because it's literally, I pushed it out just over a month ago and it's over 40 hours of content, right? And so it's substantial. And so like a good percentage of those people haven't even finished the program, right? So they have the ability to have success yet. So it's just something to consider. But I've had plenty of people actually pull a profit with this, a massive profit, and make it a full-time income, doing this with their own thing. So, all right. Let's see what else we got here. How are you? I'm great. So let's see what else. Can we go live together? I would go live, but with some people here. But I'm actually we're gonna be pulling off the live here in a second because we're already essentially 45 minutes into this. So that being said, I'm gonna go over one more question, one from YouTube and one from Instagram, and then we'll wrap things up. So I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this, but let's go over those literally one question each, okay? And then, we'll wrap it up. So we'll start with YouTube. So I'm gonna go with the YouTube question now, but guys, if you wanna ask a question, ask it in the comments here. I have a lot of questions in the question thing at the bottom here that people are asking on my recent story. If you could ask a question on the live here, I'll be able to see it as it pops up. So literally put a question there that you want me to answer instead of putting it in the question thing, right, that loads. So put it in the comments right there if you want to ask a question. So first question I'm going to do is going to be from YouTube, and then we're going to answer one more question off Instagram, and then we're going to call it a day. All right. Okay. Got a lot of questions coming through that are pretty typical as for the basics, and questions I would honestly say for the most part should be Googled. But we had a question that said, does copying videos increase CPM? Okay, so CPM, guys, is cost per 1,000 impressions. So it's the cost for you to deliver your ad out to 1,000 people, right? And so if your cost per 1,000 impressions is $50, that's not as good as if your cost per 1,000 impressions, your CPM, is $10, right? You want your CPM to be lower because you want the cost of you delivering your ad out to 1,000 people to be less, right? So the question was, when you copy videos, does your CPM go up? It's a difficult question to answer because the way you asked it was kind of like copying video. I don't recommend that you copy videos. You literally just go take a video and run it for yourself. Like, that's bad on many different levels. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. I recommend something I call piggybacking, which is in my program, where you go in and you take a video that you like and you edit it up, you chop it up, you throw in a different audio, you throw in some different video like angles, like tactics, maybe it's like some sort of like visual thing that's different, whatever it may be. But you change up the video. Just copying videos, not a good idea. Not a good idea for many different reasons, and I'm not going to go into explaining those for right now. Like, literally, I just wouldn't recommend doing that. Now, as for the CPM, is it going to increase your CPM? Probably over time, simply because the ad sets that you're running it to, unless you're running lookalike audiences, which means if you're running lookalike audiences, either you took it from another product you're running, or you've actually had some success with that product, so this question would no longer be that relevant. But for the most part, when you're running these cold interests at the beginning, if you're running these cold interests and you're running a new product, these other people are going to run similar interests that are running the same product with the same video, right? So yes, your CPM would rise because Facebook's going to have a harder time delivering that to people that are interested because they've already seen it 17 times, right? So yes, for that reason, CPM actually would rise. So I don't recommend copying at all, but a great method is to use the piggybacking method, where you take a video, you change some things up about it, you change the audio and you make it your own, change the copy, make it better. So I hope that answers that question. So let's see. As for the last question here, we're going to do a question on Instagram here. A few different questions. How long has it been since you made your first sale? I made my first sale in just in general on my first Shopify store in early December of 2016. So it has been about 2.5 years since I made my first sale in this business. So hope that helps. Wait, is that right? No, 3.5 years. I don't know, whatever. You guys get it. So it's been a while. But that was via Instagram influencers, and that was back in the day where ads, Instagram influencer ads and Facebook ads were less expensive because there was less competition out there. Not saying it's expensive. It's still expensive. This business, or still cheap. This business is still very simple if you follow a process. Facebook ads nowadays are still unbelievably cheap, but it was easier way back in the day. Okay, and so that's when I got my first sale. So I hope that clears it up. As for Facebook, my first sale on Facebook was in late January of 2017. So I'm doing this for a little while, guys. All right, so okay, last question we're gonna answer. Derek Dowdy asked, how do you find behavior targeting along with targeted audiences per product? Okay, so I'm not sure what you mean by that specifically, so feel free to DM me about that, but I'll kind of answer it in what I think you mean. If you're talking about interests versus behaviors are typically more expensive simply because you're relying on something that is related to, a lot of times is related to purchase history. It can be related to a lot of different things like behaviors. It's just a behavior of I don't really want to go into the explanation of it, but behaviors versus interests. Interests are like people who like unicorns, and behavior would be like people who buy makeup, right? You're paying for something that inevitably is going to be more expensive because it's custom data, one, and two, it's something that a lot of businesses like to use when they're in that niche. And so inevitably you're going to pay more for it. So it does cost more sometimes. Sometimes they do work well. The reason I like to do interest is because it's less expensive to deliver the ads to the people within that. But also a lot of times behaviors, depending on the niche you're going into, behaviors are not as specific or not as unique to the potential buyers that you have. So that's what I think about that when it comes to behaviors versus interests. So I do a lot of interests. So yeah, when was my first course I did? I did a course, I built a course back in about May of 2017. So I had done about, I don't know, 400K in sales, my first 2 or 3 stores. So yeah, that was the first course I actually built. I got like 15 people in it, and I had a business partner. It ended up not working out, but that was the first program I ever built. So it's been a while. So, but yeah, this is the best program out there. I've spent a lot of time putting it together. I've spent a lot of times making mistakes, a lot of time having the experiences and going through the things that going through the things that I went through, so that you don't have to go through them, such as PayPal holding 6 figures from me, and literally ruining my entire business, right? Such as running out of supply in China completely, literally the factories running out of my winning product, and figuring out how on God's green earth am I gonna make this work, right? And the structural base of what I teach now is based off of those experiences, those mistakes, and those issues that have come up, so that you don't have to go through those things. So that's a big benefit that you get, just learning from me, essentially, right? So appreciate all you guys. Thank you for coming in here on Instagram and on YouTube. So that's pretty much it for today's Wednesday Q&A. I appreciate all of you. Tune in next Wednesday to the next Wednesday Q&A, but I will be announcing something. We'll be announcing something very soon. We're going to be doing a value session. Let's see, what is today? Today's Wednesday. Potentially this week, but definitely next week. We're going to be doing a live value session with somebody out there who's big on YouTube. And I don't want to say his name yet because I don't want to give it away if we haven't 100% nailed down what day we're going to do it or whatever it may be yet. But we are planning on doing that next week, and then I might have one in this week. I'll keep you guys updated, but stay tuned. Those value sessions are amazing because you get to get 2 e-commerce experts that have made millions of dollars in sales and learn from them directly and ask them questions. So between me and whoever it is I have on my value sessions. So if you're on YouTube, check me out on Instagram at Ryan.Melnick. And if you're on Instagram, check me out on YouTube at Ryan Melnick. I'll be posting every Thursday, which means tomorrow I get a new YouTube video coming, and I'm going to be consistent with it. I guarantee you, I promise it. It's going to be every single Thursday. We're going to be coming out with a new video. It's going to be massively valuable. So appreciate all you guys, and I will see you all very, very